Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 14 of our F1 25 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Hungarian Grand Prix at the Magyar Nagadic circuit. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Belgium, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Yes, it's incredibly weird, in my opinion, that obviously Belgium is now before Hungary. In my head, Belgium should always be the first race after the summer break, followed immediately by Monza, but that's not the way it works anymore, and I must admit, I'm a little bit sad about it. Lando Norris still leading the World Championship. They're 28 points clear of Charles Leclerc. Max Verstappen in third ahead of Hamilton and Oscar Piastri. We are still in P10 as Callum Voisin, but of course we did a race as Dennis Hauger last weekend, so he is up to P14 in the World Championship as well. 61 points for the team. We are just hanging on to P5 at the moment, ahead of Haas as well there, but yeah, like I said in that video, I did admittedly misclick, so we were Dennis Hauger last weekend, but I had a lot of fun with it, but I think we will return today as Callum Voisin in the other car as well, mainly because he's actually a weaker driver inside this game, so Hauger is admittedly more likely to score some points inside this series as well. Of course, final race before the summer break, like we said, we've got to try and get everything set up, ready to go, ready for that 4-week break. But of course, yeah, get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 145,000 subs on the channel at the moment. And yeah, let's head then here back to Hungary. Well, as we head back out then onto the circuit for our final run in Q1, the team reckon there is about 0.3 of a second to be found. That would move us up one place, just ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, who of course had a miraculous run at the Spanish Grand Prix, obviously, last weekend. I've got to remember to try and use a little bit more of my battery here. I feel like we forgot to use a lot of that on the first run, but let's try and get the throttle down. We were either quick on the throttle or not wheel spinny. That was just terrible. It's just the weight transfer around here I really struggle with, and especially in a weak car like this that doesn't instill much confidence anyway. Hopefully we can get a nice, clean, tidy turn 4. Oh, a little bit better than last time around, but still they're using all of the curb and maybe just a little bit more. So up the hill we go, looking just at the entry of the chicane there again. They're really trying to tap those curbs, but we're seeing more and more times improve. Looks like Liam Lawson has got himself up the order a little bit more, so currently our two cars on the back row of the grid. If we were to finish here, completely pinned nearly. No, very hesitant in the end. Down through the exit of Sector 2, and just trying to keep the car nice and tidy then in towards these final few corners. Oh, easy does it, easy does it. 0.3 up, that was about what the team thought we could find. Nice and tidy through the final turn there. No, way too compromised. Nudge that inside curve, that'll scrub off the speed. We go P21. That was terrible. Well, there we go. Max Verstappen fastest at the end of Q1, but George Russell, Lewis Hamilton and Oscar Piastri all seem to be pretty close behind, so a lot of teams in the mix around this circuit. Not liking seeing Ollie Bearman up inside the top 10. Not because I don't like Ollie, but of course because Haas are our nearest rivals at the moment. We should have got ahead of Hülkenberg. We probably could have got ahead of Doohan and Liam Lawson as well. But I think we would have absolutely had to nail the lap to see Q2. But I have tried to set the car up ready for the race. So hopefully we're going to have a bit more pace.
Welcome to Budapest once again for another round of Formula 1 action. Historically, a good race for first-time victories, with Button, Hill, Alonso and Heikki Kovalainen all reaching the top step of the podium for the very first time right here. 14 corners then for our drivers to navigate at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring today. It's 6 lefts and 8 rights around a lap here, with average speeds in the region of 120 miles per hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Russell, Yuki Tsunoda and Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Antonelli, Ocon and Max Verstappen, Gasly, Stroll, Ollie Behrman and Bortoletto, Hadja, Lawson, Jack Doohan and Nico Hulkenberg, Voisin, Sainz, Hauger and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Well, here we are then down on the grid, ready for the Hungarian Grand Prix. 35 laps ahead of us today. The team do think it's going to be a one-stop strategy, but the Hungaroring is definitely a circuit where a two-stop is viable. So we're going to aim to one-stop, but if the tyres aren't looking that great, we could easily go 10 laps on mediums, 15 on hards, 10 laps on mediums to see us through to the checkered flag. Verstappen and both Williams with grid penalties has meant we have been promoted up to P19, ready for the start of this one. But it was right on the grid then. 5 red lights are on, 35 laps ahead of us. It is going to be lights out, and oh wait, we go there. It looks like quite a few cars. What, struggling to get a good start. We will say thank you very much then. Down around the outside of not 1, 2, 3, but maybe even 4 cars on the run down towards someone, and we'll even find an avenue in towards the first braking zone as well. They're almost up into the top 10 already. How on earth did we manage that? 7 places gained before we've even made it through the exit of the first corner there. And well, suddenly Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll right in front of me here, and well, I don't think we could have done a lot better than that had I ever believed we could have off the start there. 7 spots gained at the start of this race, but it is imperative that we try and get ourselves as close to the top 10 as we possibly can. Esteban Ocon, he's opted to start this race on the hard compounded tyre there, as everybody just constantly running up through the chicane on lap 1. Ferrari back to 1-2 in qualifying yesterday, courtesy of Verstappen's grid penalties. So I don't know whether it's Hamilton or Leclerc that is leading by the time we get towards the end of lap 1. Hamilton, of course, this is one of his most successful circuits. We've already seen him win a record-extending 10th win back at Silverstone. But could, I think, he bag his 8th win here at the Hungaroring today through the final corner? Let's see who's leading by the end of that first lap there, as we're getting a little bit of stuttering from F125. It is Lewis still at the front of the order. So could we see him get win number 2 of the year? Well, I have really made an emphasis to set the car up so it hopefully will look after its tyres a little bit more than what I've done on previous F1 games. We know how difficult it can be to manage in the early stages of F125, but yeah, Ocon as well, luckily, I think has been disconnected from your front 9 cars here, so Stroll and I kind of just trying to drag along with him and build a bit of a gap from Gabriel Bortoletto. Of course, as always, sort of straight line speed, not that easy to come by around here, but a huge dive bomb on Lance Stroll down at turn 1. I'm not going to complain. There we go, hook that one up. And able to get past him on the exit of the corner. If we could just get ahead of Ocon, I'm happy then to just park the bus. Well, already we've got a bit of a problem with our plan. We have not been able to stay in the range of Esteban Ocon here. So as Lance Stroll is going to come back down the inside at turn 1. Not going to try and put up much of a fight against it, but I just don't want Pierre Gasly also able to sneak by there. I need Lance Stroll to obviously try and go back in pursuit of Esty Bestie. But yeah, of course, the Frenchman, he's won a race around this circuit before. Surprised Crofty didn't mention that in the intro. But yeah, it's just so tricky. I think the hard tyres might already be the ones to be on. So Stroll and I are struggling. Alright, here comes Pierre Gasly at the inside of turn 1. Nope, we'll think better of it there. It is a fact to go wheel to wheel with me, as the team are already recommending a new strategy. They want us to box slightly earlier over to the hard tyre, but they are still adamant the one stop is the way to go. I could honestly be tempted to box at like lap 12 here and just then try and blast it on the hards. At least then we could try and just park the bus against Ocon later on. But yeah, like I said, if we lose the DRS range to Lance, I think we're just going to go backwards. Yep, there we go. DRS has gone to Lance now, so I think Pierre Gasly is going to say thank you very much. Down the inside he will go on the run back in towards turn 1, and that time round, whoa, although I'm accidentally going to fight it back in towards turn 1. That was genuinely not my intention there, Pierre. Hopefully he's going to be able to go in pursuit of Lance Stroll, maybe drag us back towards the Canadian. But this, I mean, like every year, early on, Hungary is just awful. I cannot stand this venue. Oh, there goes Behrman. Ollie Behrman to the inside as well then. Back on the run towards turn 1. Will he get down the inside there? We'll try and go the long way around him, but mean, we've just got nothing. I'm trying to get on the throttle as early as I can. I guess the good thing is Gabriele Bortoleto is struggling behind me. What's that? 5 seconds back to the Sauber. That again is another car I would expect to struggle around this venue. But now Doohan's gone by him. I'm sure Jack is about to close in on me. We're going to make the switch to hards very soon. The mediums do not work.
0.7 seconds.
I mean, yeah, we're boxing now. We are boxing right now in this Grand Prix. These tyres feel beyond terrible. Worryingly, I don't even think they're overheating badly. Look at that, the warning light is pretty much flashed up immediately. So, yeah, we were just all over the show on this first set. Make sure we get the car slowed down nice and tidy. And the first car then into the pit lane, I believe, in this Grand Prix. That has been a tough first third here this afternoon, but hopefully we're going to be able to carry a lot of speed and pace in towards the second half of the Grand Prix. At least, okay, yeah, there you go, that seems about right.
Removing the left rear wheel. We need to try and put that behind us, and let's finish the race as strong as possible.
Obviously that was going to happen as well.
No more scheduled pit stops, let's go.
It looks like there are quite a few cars then towards the rear that were on the medium tyre as well. So I'm going to be very interested to see kind of how they get on. A gap to Hauger, 14 seconds. We need to try and bring that down rather rapidly. There we are then, really now hoping that some of these AI are going to dive into the pit lane quite soon, because we are all over the back of Dennis Hauger. I mean, look at that. How often do you see overtakes into there? I know we've got a huge tyre offset, but just goes to show how big the delta can be around here. As there we go, Hajar and Hulkenberg, rather luckily for us, diving into the pit lane then, as well as Alex Albon there, so we've got a bit more breathing room. And we've got some free DRS in the process. Lance Stroll in as well. And we're going to be ahead of Verstappen. What on earth is happening to Max then in this Grand Prix? Is that a McLaren that's just come out of the pit lane? How much of an undercut have we done in this race, man? That's madness. We're definitely up then into the net top 10. How are the tyres hanging on though at the moment? We're at 13% on the left-hand side. We could get these to the end of the race. Gabriele Bortoleto then, still struggling along in that Sauber car. I mean, look at the speed we've got at the moment. Oh, I can't quite go for anything through there, and we'll be met with a wall of understeer as well in the dirty air of the Brazilian. So we just started to move back to the racing line, but we will say thank you very much and pick up another spot then. Liam Lawson next up on the old hit list, but I assume he will be into the pit lane. Yes, he will. So Oscar Piastri is boxed and come back out then. He's only 3 seconds ahead of us. Are we now going to be up into the top 10 here for the first time today? Antonelli will resume just in front of me, but we might be able to get the switch on him or through turn 1. I'm not sure it's going to be in our best interest, to be honest, to try and get the jump on him. I want to know what's happened to Verstappen. How on earth has he ended up behind Lance Stroll in this race? Where has he struggled? There we go. Oh, Jack Doohan as well. I forgot about Jack Doohan needing to pit in this race as well then. So we are going to be up into 9th place here, but not for very long, as Lance Stroll is actually going to get the run on me back down in towards turn 1. Verstappen, I think he might have actually just been trying to avoid dirty air as well. We had a bit of a cheeky look up the inside of Lance. I don't think you can blame him for trying to turn in there, but luckily no damage for either of us, as here goes Verstappen as well down the inside at turn 2. Yeah, I don't think the Red Bull is our fight this afternoon. Well, I must admit, I'm very much of the mantra today of let the AI do all the battling with each other. We're just trying to make sure that I'm setting good, consistent lap times, so I'm not even going to try and defend from Gasly or Ocon on the run back down towards turn 1. Oh, Ocon there broke just a little bit earlier than I was expecting. But I'm hoping those two can get back to Lance and then they can all squabble. There's a 12-second gap back to Albon here. So as long as that doesn't come down too rapidly, we could still pit and get back ahead of him by the end. Hulkenberg's gone. Hulkenberg out of the race quite late on in the afternoon. Not too sure where he's broken down, but doesn't look like we're going to get a safety car or a red flag for it, which would have been perfectly timed for ourselves by the end of the GP. But yeah, this again has been another struggle for Sauber this weekend there as well. Just running a little bit wide. We try and take every last little bit off of these hard tyres. They definitely have felt so much better than mediums. I cannot stress it enough. use the hard tyres around the Hungaroring. But immediately, as in typical Map 2 and 2 fashion, I'm not going to listen to my own advice here. Into the pit lane we'll go for one fast blast towards the end of the Grand Prix. I think we're unlikely to score points anyway, so we may as well try and throw something different at it and pray for a miracle towards the end of the afternoon. Hopefully we'll come out ahead of Hauger in this Grand Prix. That would be ideal. Give us a little bit of clear air to obviously utilise these softs. There we go. Nice and tidy. 2.4 seconds. Annoyingly, we won't get the jump on Hauger.
Up to speed now.
We will come out just behind him and maybe Gabriel Bortoletto. It'll be wheel to wheel actually on pit lane exit with the Brazilian. So we will hang on to that spot. There is Hulkenberg stricken Sauber. Right, come on, let's push. Hauger instantly. I mean, these guys are on wrecked hard tyres. We are on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. I think we could genuinely get back to where we were in this Grand Prix. It's down the inside of Isaac. Just want to be very careful that I don't burn these tyres out in the first couple of laps. But 6 laps to go. The gap to the top 10 is about the middle sector. So let's just see how much that comes down by the end of the race. But as we get towards then the final lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix, I hadn't actually realised when we came out the pits how close we were to getting lapped in this Grand Prix. Hamilton, I believe it is still at the front of the order there, has lapped everybody up to myself towards the end of the afternoon. That Ferrari really has been all-conquering today. The same cannot be said for these soft compound tyres. They've been alright, but they certainly haven't felt anything special, a bit like the hards. Sorry, a bit like the mediums even. So I would just emphasise on race strategy running the hard compound tyre here. But out of the final corner, Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari win number 2 of the year. Is he potentially still a threat for the World Championship? Only time will tell. I believe Ferrari are going to convert this to another 1-2 finish as well. So they are definitely here to fight in the Constructors, and I believe are already leading that. Never mind the result this weekend. We now can't come any lower than P18 in this Grand Prix, which I guess is quite a good thing on this final lap, because the soft compound tyres are absolutely falling apart here. Haven't even had the pace to close in on Liam Lawson towards the end of the afternoon, but it does seem like everybody apart from Gasly's pace has fallen apart right towards the end. No real surprises or upsets today. It looks like it's going to be just your big 5 teams. They're going to walk away with points, but I always think, especially around a track like this, the first season, it is all about learning what is possible and what isn't inside every F1 game. And again, the hard tyre, they are your only friend around this circuit. Through the final corners, P19 to 18 doesn't look particularly good on paper, but we know we ran a better race than that today. Yeah, the points will have to wait as through the final corner, of course, the tyre wear warning light flashes up.
And Lewis Hamilton takes the checkered flag and once again wins!
There was never a moment of doubt today. You could tell that they completely had it under control, and that is a sign of greatness.
It's time for our podium celebrations. And as ever in Formula One, 3 is the magic number. It's a familiar sight in Formula One, and here it is once again. Lewis Hamilton with the trophy held high, celebrating a masterful victory.
Well, there we are then. Lewis Hamilton, a dominant display here at the Hungaroring. Took pole position, again, thanks to Verstappen's penalties, but honestly, never really looked back after that. Led from the start, and pretty certainly led basically every lap in this Grand Prix there. 13 seconds clear of Charles Leclerc come the checkered flag. Russell comes through for 3rd ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. Lando Norris and McLaren will again be disappointed that they haven't had the race pace today. Alonso ahead of Antonelli, Piastri, Verstappen and Lance Stroll Stroll will round out your top 10 there. So like I said, your big 5 teams scoring all the points. No real surprise today. Just, of course, Nico Hülkenberg, who failed to see the checkered flag. Championship standings, though, Norris now with a 20-point buffer ahead of Leclerc. Race weekend's winner, Lewis Hamilton, up to P3, only 34 back from your championship leader there. Verstappen not a million miles away. Piastri, Russell and Tsunoda a little bit further back, as Esteban Ocon still ahead of ourselves in the World Championship as well. Constructors-wise, we do hang on still to P5 there. Aston Martin, though, now only 5 points back and still has between us, as Ferrari now 33 clear of McLaren as well. They could legitimately wrap this up with a couple of races to go if they can maintain that momentum. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon, ready for the Dutch Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss that.